It's a new year, 2023 has arrived, and we're already 1 month in. If you're someone who's looking to start fresh and wants to consistently work out 4 to 5 times per week in 2023 and beyond, here are 3 common routine killing errors I see beginners make when starting their fitness routines at the gym. If you can avoid these 3 mistakes, you will be more likely to develop long-term and consistent exercise habits. Number 1, they start off too intense. One pitfall I've observed in beginners is they often start with an intensity that far exceeds their current habits and abilities. The effort is admirable, but often leads to burnout because they haven't built up the battery to sustain that level of intensity for very long. Why do people go from 0 to 100? Maybe they just decided to go for it in a boost of motivation. Maybe it's a routine they used to do 5 to 10 years ago in college. Maybe a very fit friend who they trust told them to follow this exact routine. There could be a lot of reasons, but a reality for many people is they haven't been exercising consistently for months, years, even decades. Going from 0 exercise to 5 days of intense exercise days per week is a major lifestyle change and a shock to the system. There's a select few who might be able to handle this shock, but for the most part, your best bet is to have a more conservative approach and slowly dial that intensity up over time. This will build up your battery, so to speak, so that once you reach your desired intensity level that's optimal for your goals, you can sustain it for a long period of time. Number 2, far too often people focus so much on the result that they don't pay enough attention to the process. This is cliche, but true. There's a lot that has to come together for a program to be successful at the end of the day. When people first start out, they're often highly motivated, and whether they admit it or not, expect to see and feel results in the short term. As a result, they'll start out motivated, hitting the gym 5 times per week like they're supposed to, and when they consistently fail to see or feel the results week after week after week, that failure understandably becomes too much to handle mentally and can result in them quitting. There's a famous quote, "Many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they gave up." A simple shift in attention can prevent this, because if you take a step back and analyze the situation, you'll realize there's a ton of upside. You might not have gotten the ultimate result you were going for, but you've successfully achieved the hardest part of this whole journey, and that's taking action and getting started. If you find yourself in this position, I suggest you stop and smell the roses, and you might start to realize some areas of opportunity that can move that needle forward. Here are a couple of pro tips on some things that could make a huge difference in your program. Pro tip number 1, add more protein into your diet. The more active you are, the more protein your body requires, and many people are already under eating the amount of protein required for their body weight. This can make a huge difference in how you feel and how you recover post-workout. Pro tip number 2, sleep more. When it's all said and done, you could be doing everything right in the gym and at the kitchen table, but results will be hard to come by if you're only getting 4 to 5 hours of sleep per night. Ditch the screens at night and set a consistent bedtime so that you get a minimum of 7 hours of sleep per night. Pro tip number 3, learn how to say no. This is a huge one that has to do with lifestyle, and I've come to this conclusion from all of the conversations that I've had with clients and myself. We often find ourselves in situations where we want to please others by saying yes. Sometimes we do, and that's okay. But if you often find yourself in situations where you act out of fear of missing out or of letting someone down, standing firm and saying no might be the muscle you should prioritize working on in the coming year. Common error number 3, people never establish a strong vision. Everyone knows that setting goals is important. For any endeavor, you need to have something you're working towards. You can ask anyone in the gym and they'll have something in mind if you ask, what are your fitness goals? Common ones are, I want to shed a few pounds. I want to tone up. I want to build some lean muscle mass. I want to build my core strength. These are all great, but they're very surface level. Let me ask you a question. If you make your weight loss goal or your strength goal your version of Mount Everest, is that truly the breathtaking view that inspires you to make that climb regardless of the obstacles? And if you do get there, is it breathtaking enough for you to continue to make that climb over and over and over again? I would argue that in most cases, that answer is probably no. And these goals are very short term in nature. You might even reach them within a year, in which you'll still have decades of life ahead of you. So my question is, what then? What's going to motivate you to continue exercising the habits that got you there? Is it fear? Fear of losing what you've achieved? Fear can be a good motivator, but it's also a stressful one. Fear doesn't inspire action, it forces action. That's a big difference. What I'm getting at is, what vision inspires you to keep pressing forward even when you don't feel like it? That's a personal question and requires a lot of reflection and introspection on your part. My suggestion is to start thinking of this now. Grab a piece of paper and start writing stuff down and brainstorming until you find that reason. Don't wait until you lose motivation, because that's when you'll need it most. I'll leave you with this. Never quit. Keep pushing forward. This is a long journey, meaning the goal is to keep exercising in your life for years to come. If you're in a rut and things just don't seem to be clicking, there's always an answer hidden in there somewhere. You just have to step back, reanalyze, and keep trying. If you've tried and are still struggling to find that answer, or you're just struggling to get started, I'd love to help. Check the link in description for a 14-day free trial where we'll have an in-depth conversation about your current goals. We'll strategize on the best approach to get there, and we'll go through the first 2 weeks of exercise together so that you can have guidance every step of the way. If you enjoyed this video, drop a comment below and make sure to hit that subscribe button so you get updates on all my latest videos. Thanks for sticking around. I appreciate your support, and I'll see you next time.